Throw the slack, you fucking moron!
Hey everybody, and welcome back to Screen Share, a movie podcast about giving a little boy your heart.
Oh, interesting. I'm not sure that's where I thought you were going with that.
Yeah, I had nothing. I kind of just started talking, and I went with
Giving a little boy your heart.
Giving a little boy your heart.
Uh-huh.
My name's Adam Cook.
Called.
And today we are continuing, actually wrapping up my my birthday month of movies.
Thank God.
Thank goodness. These have all been shit. That's what Calder was telling me earlier.
I was literally in tears.
But we did Spirited Away, Apollo 13, Isle of Dogs, and now we're on to the last one, Alita Battle Angel, a 2019 film based on Yukito Kishiro's manga, which I also assumed was just called Alita Battle Angel, but it's called Gunnm, Gunnm.
Oh.
Which I think, but then it's also known as Battle Angel Alita.
Nice.
But apparently they changed the name to Alita: Battle Angel for this, so that like if they had any sequels or subsequent movies, they could just like make it like Alita Avenging Angel or like Alita Fallen Angel, and
which they might.
I mean, watching this movie, it's very clear they plan to do a sequel.
Yeah.
But then we just haven't heard anything for a while. But in May of this year, 2023, it was confirmed that a sequel is in development with Robert Rodriguez coming back to direct, and Rosa Salazar coming back as Alita. So
those are the ones we need.
So like, let's just go off the top, say our thoughts. Start with you.
That was pretty good, pretty fun.
Yeah.
There's some stuff I liked. There's some very silly moments.
Yeah.
And a couple nits to pick.
I'm basically the same. I didn't pick this movie because I'm like, dude, this is one of the best movies. I just like, this is a movie where like I saw it and I was like, wow, I enjoyed that. And then like didn't really hear about it for a while. It didn't like do that well, at least in here. Like it had a budget of like $175 million approximately.
But it made like 400.
But it made like $400 million, which is good, but it only made $85 million in the US and Canada.
Yeah, it's a little rough.
So it was like very much an overseas like
smash hit,
which makes sense because it's like very big on spectacle and like CG. Like it's why Transformers does well overseas, Fast and Furious does well overseas.
You're saying
like,
that international people are so stupid.
No, I'm saying it's
bunch
easier
of
to enjoy an action movie. It's I'm like,
not quite
it's
sure
like
that's what you said, but
it's like why we enjoyed Police Story so well, but we probably wouldn't enjoy like a Korean soap opera as much as we enjoyed Police Story, because Police Story you can there's more to appreciate than like the dialogue is what I'm saying. And I will say, even the English version here, the dialogue's usually about the last thing to appreciate. So
yeah, it felt very much like comic booky, where it's like a lot of like single lines you could see in a bubble over someone's head, but it's like when it's said out loud, you're kind of like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, there's a lot of, it's not like the MCU like classic like he's right behind me, isn't he?
But it's that can't be actually what your name is.
Oh, we're saying our silly names?
Hey, we got them.
This movie is more like, it just has a lot of one-liners that, like, you and I both went, like, it's just like, they're just goofy. There's a point, what I referenced in the intro of this episode, there's a point where Alita is talking to her boy crush. What was his name? Hugo.
And
And
Boogo.
Boogo? Nice. That was good.
Boogo.
But she's talking about how, like, she'd do anything for him or for them to keep them together, whatever. And then she's like, I would even give you my heart. And then she reaches into her chest and pulls out her heart. He's like, no, put that away, dude. And she's like, that was really intense, huh? It's
Yeah,
just
that's
like,
long.
yeah, I guess it was. You ripped your heart out.
Amen.
But it's just a lot of stuff like that. Someone says, nice shot for a meat boy to Hugo.
Because he's a meat boy.
Because he's made out of flesh. It's
and
just
they call the sideboard hard body.
hard bodies. Although there is one line that I loved, and that's when Alita is fighting, what was his name? Gruishka. And he's like,
Amen.
I want to have your head around my neck like a pendant, like constantly screaming for mercy or whatever.
That's pretty scary.
Yeah, and then Alita's like, fuck your mercy. gets the one F-bomb in there for a PG-13.
Amen.
Anyway, that was just kind of fun. And just to wrap up the good quotes, she's playing the what is it called? Murder ball? What's it called? Death ball?
Motorball?
Motorball. She's playing motorball, and the announcer goes, looks like the fans have themselves an underdog darling with the face of an angel and a body built for battle. It's like, first of all, imagine someone saying that. Second of all, it's kind of straight up being like honestly, a part of me is like, I wish that he said her name in it.
Mm-hmm.
So that he could say Alita, Battle, and Angel all in the same thing, because that's basically what it felt like.
Yeah, there's some silly stuff.
It's just a little silly. That's what I find with this movie is like the visuals and like CG and effects and like set pieces and all these things are very exciting and very cool. They look great. The world building's rad.
Yeah.
And I think some of the characters and character design are fun. So like, if you just go into it being like, I'm here for a goofy time, it's pretty enjoyable.
Yeah.
Like, it's not Dune.
No.
Like, it's similar in that like the vast effects and like a crazy like futuristic sci-fi kind of world, but like Dune, you go and you're like, I'm jumping deep into the lore. This, you watch and you're like,
well, Dune's also more serious,
goofy.
right? Like, this isn't
Yeah.
supposed to be like a serious drama about
Yeah.
like the rise and fall of kingdoms and stuff like that.
Yeah.
This is more of like a YA science fiction kind of thing.
yeah. If any, honestly, it gives me more like Hunger Games vibes than
Yeah.
it gives me Dune vibes.
But I think the world building is really good.
Mm-hmm.
And Robert Rodriguez
Director of all the Spy Kids
and a bunch of other stuff
and a
as
bunch
well.
of other stuff, but
But he does that really well.
mhm.
Just like kind of quickly building a world for you that you understand. That's like kind of psychotic, but also really cool.
yeah,
Because this world of Spy Kids, I find very cool.
yeah, it's cool,
He also did Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
very cool.
You like that one? Machete. All the machetes.
All the machetes.
He did Sin City.
He also did, which I kind of forgot until I was doing a little bit of research. He did the Book of Boba Fett show.
Oh yeah, he did like
Which,
3
like-
episodes of that.
No, he did the whole thing.
No, I mean,
He did a couple episodes.
He directed
of
the-
Mandalorian, but he did all of the Book of Boba Fett, I'm pretty sure.
Spank me then.
But apparently, before Book of Boba Fett came out, he did an interview where he's like, maybe the next thing I'll do is to pitch an Alita sequel, but only if Book of Boba Fett, quote, knocks people's socks off, end quote, which it didn't do. It's like the show is like fine, but the reason I bring it up is because the best part of that show is they like kind of dive into like Tusken Raider lore.
Yeah.
And like that's the best part of the show is like they really like, I mean, we don't really get anything about Tusken Raiders in any other movie, but all of a sudden they like kind of jump into the deep culture of these people.
Mm-hmm.
It's like he's clearly very good at that. He kind of just does that, but with the whole universe in this movie.
Yeah.
And it just, I don't know. You feel like not I feel like saying like you feel transported is like common to say, but like it feels like a living, breathing world, I guess.
Yeah, it's just a cool world you'd want to spend time in.
Yeah.
And they don't like beat you over the head with exposition. That's kind of boring.
Yeah.
And I think the idea of like 300 years ago there was this war, she's kind of a remnant from it. There's a lot of questions to be answered about her and about the world and like all that stuff.
It
And
works
there's, like,
because
somewhere
we're
that we
learning
still need to
through
go.
her a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's still somewhere for us to like want to go.
Yeah.
To what's it called? Zarba or something?
Zarba and Zerber. I wrote it down one moment.
Zariba?
Zalem, which is like a floating city, but it's not floating. It's just like connected.
Well, it's floating.
I was reading that like it's supposed to be connected to like a space elevator or something. So they chose to like put
Take
it
the space
somewhere
elevator
where it would be
out.
on the equator, because that's the only place a space elevator would be physically possible or something.
Okay.
So that's why apparently they used a lot of like Spanish architecture, because that's where it would be.
Interesting.
Which was just a James Cameron thing, I think, because James Cameron is a producer.
He
on
wrote
this,
the movie.
and he wrote it. I think he wrote like a couple drafts ago, because I think it got. But like he wrote the original drafts, and he was set to direct, but then he decided not to because he wanted to focus on. He was like, "I'm not gonna do Alita until I finish
Avatar?
2 Avatar sequels."
Yeah.
So that was like, which by the way, they like Fox initially purchased the domain name Battle Angel Alita in 2000. And then like talks of this movie being made started in 2003, which is like kind of like that's a while ago.
Yeah.
But
It's a hard movie to make though. There's a lot of effects.
yeah, I remember hearing about it, and like people online were like making memes about how, well, they did anime eyes in a movie or whatever. But like I remember seeing it and being like, man, this is kind of nuts. This is like kind of crazy that they're making something like this, which is why I wanted to go see it, because I was like, I feel like this kind of thing doesn't really get made with like this much effort, these big names behind it. But yeah, what was I just saying about
James Cameron?
Oh yeah, James Cameron ultimately decided he wanted to focus on the Avatar sequels because he said the world was in desperate need of like raising public awareness for environmental protection, which is kind of like a theme of the Avatar movies.
Yeah.
Like he listed that as the reason he was doing those first, and then took fucking 50 years to make the first sequel. But like,
Well, it only came out like 4 years after.
yeah. But I mean like, but he didn't work on Alita at all, other than like writing the initial drafts and being a producer.
Yeah.
Like he if he hadn't like passed the directing chair over to Robert Rodriguez, we probably wouldn't have gotten this movie either ever, or probably not for like another 10-15 years. Cuz like
Good.
he's got to finish more Avatars. Anyway, I just found that interesting. But they were initially going to do like a full CG Alita, and I'm pretty sure they opted not to, and they just did like CG on the eyes and face and I guess body.
Yeah.
But I think they kept like basically mouth and chin, and then the whole body is performance capture, and then the eyes are obviously
Yeah, that makes sense.
edited. And I think the
seems like
hair's CG too.
The goal, like the trick with this movie was like keep the face the same. So that's not hard, because that's really hard to replicate.
Yeah.
And then everything else is kind of different.
Well, that's part of what like I find impressive is, first of all, like there's a couple moments in here where there's a little bit of uncanny valley where like Alita does a smile or something, and I'm like, oh, that's like a little off.
Yeah.
But like those moments are few and far between, which is super impressive considering most emotion is shown through the eyes. Like the eyes are some of the hardest parts of a CG face to do.
Yeah.
And that's like most of her head is her eyes. But like they look so good.
Yeah,
like
she looks
almost
incredible
all the
in
time.
the movie.
And like apparently there was more CGI geometry in one of Alita's eyes in this movie than in the entirety of Gollum in the Lord of the Rings movie.
You saw that on that corridor video, huh?
No, I just
Oh,
read
really?
that. Yeah.
Because they had the guy who did it on the corridor, like VFX artist react.
Okay.
And he was like, yes.
Insane.
He literally just said that.
Yeah. That's just nuts.
Yeah.
It's funny because like I feel like a lot of like still now a lot of the time people compare things to the CG in or just the effects in Lord of the Rings, and it's like it makes it seem like Gollum was like must have been like a PS1 character, but like no, it looked good.
Yeah. Sure.
Just kind of a testament to those.
I don't
movies,
watch those kinds of things.
You will.
That's a threat.
Apparently
Mark it
Zendaya
down.
was considered or like was in like the top 3 considered for the main lead.
Interesting.
Yeah. Along with Bella Thorne, her Shake It
Whoa.
Up Disney show co-star.
Bella Thorne. Nah.
No.
Zendaya.
Would have been interesting.
Because I feel like she needs like a real movie star role.
Well, I feel like it would have like perfectly lined up with her kind of like rise.
Yeah. 2019.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I also like, a part of me is like, would she then be like too big to do a sequel?
It'd
But,
probably
like, I
be
don't know.
easier to get the sequel done.
Actually,
you'd
that's
assume,
true.
right?
And maybe it would have gotten more butts and seats. But
Maybe.
I do think that Rosa Salazar is quite good.
Yeah, she's really good.
She's apparently going to be the villain for the new Captain America movie.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
I don't know what the character is.
It's like New World Order, that movie, right?
Yeah.
Let's get into the movie a little bit.
Yeah, let's get back into the movie. So it opens up on Christoph Waltz's character of Dr. Ito, and he's looking through like trash heaps, and he finds Alita basically, but she's just ahead. I'm getting a phone
Like
call.
head and shoulders.
She's just
knees
a head and
toes.
shoulders, knees and toes. It says it's been reported as fraud.
So it's probably not something you should pick up.
Yeah. Go to my voicemail, please. Yeah, so he basically finds her just head and shoulders and then puts her on the body that he had intended for his daughter, who was like paralyzed.
Amen.
Got fucking bashed by a drug maniac.
addict? Yeah.
Which was like, I guess it was fine as a flashback, but he's like describing it and he's like, yeah, this guy I used to do mods for broke in looking for drugs. But the way that it's like blocked out is like,
it seems stupid.
he looks at like Christoph Waltz and then the daughter rolls in a wheelchair. And then he looks at her, back at him and goes, "Rah!" And then just like hits the boat.
Yeah.
And it's just like, why?
That was very like silly.
Yeah,
I
that
think.
it was thankfully not really important, I don't feel.
Not really. I mean, it's the motivation of like 2 of the characters.
I guess so.
But that scene's like, that's fine. It works. It
Yeah.
tells you what happened.
So we find out.
What do you think of Christoph Waltz in the movie?
I think he's good. I mean, I just like Christoph Waltz. He kind of plays like basically the same character as he does in Django Unchained. 'Cause
Yeah.
in Django Unchained, he's a dentist, a bounty hunter, and a mentor. In this, he's like a surgeon, a bounty hunter, and a mentor.
Yeah. I just feel like he doesn't like...
He doesn't get enough to do, I feel.
Yeah. And also like, I feel like he can't be a good guy.
You think Christoph Waltz is bad at being a good guy?
Yeah, because in this he's supposed to be like...
I mean, he's a good guy in Django.
Yeah, but he's also a bad guy in Django.
Yeah. I
He's
guess
nice to Django, but then he kills other people. He doesn't really kill... Like, he's not a bad guy in this one.
Here's the thing, though. I haven't seen many movies with Christoph Waltz where he's a bad guy. I know he's a bad guy most of the time. I guess I just haven't seen many Christoph Waltz movies. But, like, as someone who hasn't established him as a villain actor in my mind, like... I've seen Django. I really loved his character in that. I've seen this, and I'm like, he's a nice guy.
What else have you seen?
I don't know. Maybe, I don't know.
Big Eyes?
No. We're not going through his whole catalog and me saying yes, no to all of them.
Inglorious?
I haven't seen Inglourious Basterds.
And there it is. I think he's fine. I don't know. I feel like another actor could have played that part well.
Sure. Foreshadowing.
Adam raises chunky eyebrows.
Thanks. So then we meet Hugo, who is like a bad boy on a one big wheeled motorcycle that looks like shit.
Oh, you don't think it looks good?
I think it looks fine as far as like the effects. I think that the design of it is
kind of stupid.
So goofy.
I'm not sure how you turn in a sort of effective way, because the thing about motorcycles is you can lean to turn, sort of, or you can also just turn if you need to turn quickly.
I think you can lean on this as well because the wheel is so big.
Yeah, you can lean, but you can't turn quickly with
but
like
also,
the
how
handlebars.
is it balancing on a wheel?
It's in the middle.
Yeah, but what if one of them leans back for a sec?
Then he slows down. It's probably like a one wheel kind of.
I don't know. It just like a little bit of a goofy design. Luckily, we only see it a couple times. It's a bit silly. What do you think of the designs of like a lot of the like hunter killers who are like half machine, half?
I think they're pretty cool. I think a lot of them are a little samey.
Yeah. A lot of them are just like mech body, real face.
Yeah, and I feel like they're not super colorful to distinguish them between each other, because like
I feel like when we see the first Motorball game, they're all like colorful, but almost every other one is just
it's just like silver.
Yeah.
Because like Isaac Gonzalez and the Zapan, they're like the same color.
Yeah.
They both have swords. Like she can do some spider stuff, but like they're basically have the same sort of skeleton thing.
Yeah.
And they also don't feel very like pieced together, because it is like a dystopian world. So you'd think that they're more like, I'm going to get this piece from this and this from this and this from this.
Yeah.
So maybe that's supposed to like indicate that they're high status or something. But
maybe. Well, because we see a couple people in Ito's like office or like surgery room, whatever the fuck. And they're
like pieced together.
Yeah, they've got like a big chunky arm with like a little hand or whatever, and they're all kind of like rusty. Ito's getting paid in food.
Good.
Money, but
Oranges.
Chocolate.
What do you think about the designs?
I think most of them are cool. Like, I think a lot of the big guys are cool.
Yeah.
Because they just like they do more with them. I do think some of them look a little goofy. Like when I think it's Isa Gonzalez's character, she's initially wearing like a hood,
and then she
like pops it off, and she's like standing there like a praying mantis or something, and it's just like a little goofy of a reveal. It's because it's just a little shocking.
I think it's also like a lot of them are just face that's kept.
Yeah.
So I think if there was more like, oh, this guy has his whole head, this person has like head and shoulders, maybe someone's
knees and
like
toes,
got half their body but like no arms, sort of thing.
Yeah, like I feel like they were probably trying to be accurate to the manga. I don't really know the manga, but like with Zapan, it's like I almost feel like it would be more interesting if like diagonal across his body is where it went from machine to guy.
Yeah, something like that.
But then like Alita cuts his real arm off, and later he comes back like
with a
even more machine.
Arm, yeah.
And it's just like I feel like that would be a little more interesting as a design, instead of like most of these guys being like their face, their organs, but then like all robot shell.
Yeah.
Because it even adds to like kind of the goofy look when it just looks like the face is pasted onto a CG thing. Even though I know
like
they're
with
doing
Zapan, it
capture,
is his face stretched onto a robot's face.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, I don't know. I think that's just the one thing that could like make the designs a little more interesting.
Yeah, make it a bit more mixed
all
together.
Be like basically just face boys.
Yeah, because Isa Gonzalez and Zapan are both like real face pasted onto a chrome body, and it's like, okay, well, Like,
Yeah.
I just saw that.
And then Gerwishka or whatever.
Yeah.
He's just face pasted on big body.
Yeah. He literally looks like, was it Juggernaut from
Yeah.
Deadpool 2?
Mm-hmm.
Where it's just like, that's just a big CG guy. And it's hard to kind of...
Yeah.
I mean, it's fine. I feel like this movie, since so much of it is CG dependent, it's kind of jarring at first, but then by like...
By the
as
halfway
you get into
point,
it,
you kind
you'll
of get
just
in.
like-
You're
yeah.
kind of like okay with it.
Like, I see Gruishka, and I'm like, yep, that's that
That's
guy.
Gerwishka.
I guess it's
Yeah.
because I'm also used to watching like video game cutscenes and being invested, so I'm like, that's basically this.
Yeah. I think a lot of the character designs are cool. I think they could just be a little more interesting, maybe a
Yeah.
little more colorful.
Mm-hmm. I get they're trying to be grungy, but maybe in a sequel, if they go up to Zalzabar, what was it fucking called?
Zazbira?
Zanum? Zonar? Zalem.
Zalem.
Once they like get to Zalem, maybe there will be like a lot more color and different stuff up there.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I guess we'll see.
I didn't like Hugo.
Me neither. That's
I
why I
think-
was bringing it up.
I think nothing against the actor. I just don't think he does it very well, and I think the character's kind of written poorly, and like
Yeah.
it's just kind of lame. Like she's so cool, and then she's
Yeah.
just got to like. I had this problem with Enola Holmes too, where like Enola Holmes is like a cool character
Yeah.
who's like very capable, and then she's got this fucking dude that she's got to deal with,
Yeah.
and she's like for some reason she loves him, but like there's no reason for Alita to love Hugo.
It's
unless-
literally the first boy her age that she ever met.
So maybe that's why, right? Because
Yeah.
it's like she's a robot or something.
Which
So
makes
she,
me
like-
kind of glad that he died in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, but it's kind of weird because he gets like killed. Then they like go
Bring him
out
back
of
to
their
life.
way to save him, and he immediately goes and gets himself killed again.
Yeah, he's a fucking idiot.
Yeah, and like I
He's
didn't feel
stupid
bad.
the entire way.
Like I felt bad for Alita because she's sad
Yeah.
about it, but like I
Don't
was
give a
also
fuck about
kind
that
of
guy.
like probably dodged a bullet there.
Yeah. She did dodge a bullet there.
She did.
My girl Alita should not be hanging out with boys like that.
Which I will say also because they're climbing up like the big wire beam thing, and then Nova sends a spinny saw thing to knock him
Ed
off.
Norton, you mean?
Ed Norton, which accidentally chose 2 movies with Edward Norton for this month.
You wish.
I mean, I did. He was in I Love Dogs. But he sends that saw, which cuts up Doug. What's his fucking name? Hugo.
Hugo. Yeah.
And then Alita kind of saves him, but then he falls anyway. But like a whole 2 minutes transpires while they're hanging there. I'm
Yeah.
like, why does Nova not just send another saw? They're both dead.
yeah.
Like both of them are dead.
I wonder if she could survive that fall.
Maybe. I'm sure. I mean, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Because she's literally made of like
Martian
ancient
armor.
like technology that's way advanced.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I don't know. I wrote down a couple things. It's just like the dialogue feels like it would play better on the page of a manga,
yeah.
where it's like, I'm gonna eat you up, little flea. Where it's like I could
Yeah.
see that on a comic book page, but once you bring it into a movie, it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of like, especially I noticed this especially with Hugo, where like scene to scene, his performance seems very inconsistent. Like when Alita's at the motorball thing, and she calls him, and he's like, yeah, I just got to go do one thing. And then he gets off his bike. He seems like he's pretty normal. And then he just immediately starts yelling at the guys.
Yeah.
You're just kind of like, what the fuck's going on here? Like,
Yeah, his motivations and like reasons for doing and saying what he's doing and saying are just like kind of weird. Like he talks to Mahershala Ali's character, Vector.
yeah. Mahershala Ali.
When he showed up on screen, Calder was literally like, "Oh damn, he looks cool." Because like
when doesn't he look cool, man?
he looks so cool. He's literally just wearing like a black trench coat and sunglasses the whole time. So of course,
He has a mohawk, right?
it's like
Like a faux? Is it a faux or a mo?
it's like a faded. I don't know what you.
Is it a faux or a mo?
It's definitely not a mo.
Could be a faux.
Could be a faux.
Could be a yo.
Could be a yo.
Yo hawk.
So, but like when he goes and talks to Mahershala Ali's character and then wakes up drunk in his apartment with jeans on but no shirt for some reason, he just like
Belt's still on too.
belt's still on too. It seems like, first of all, he knows that. I feel like at that point he kind of knows that he's after him a little bit, or after her.
Yeah. Oh, he definitely knows.
But he still has like drinks with him, and then is not ashamed to tell Alita that he was doing that.
Yeah.
But then like decides to like stop doing like wrecking people and like salvaging their parts.
I honestly couldn't tell you. I feel like his character's the weakest part of the movie.
Yeah, his character's like by far the weakest part of the movie. Like by quite a bit, I think.
Yeah.
And it's not entirely the actor. I think it is a little bit, but like I think most of it is just I think it's a boring character.
Yeah, and it's just like I don't know, the guy's like just a guy.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if he has like a lot of star quality to him.
He kept making me think that he'd be like the like if West Side Story 2021 that we watched was made like 10 years ago and they made a remake now, they'd use him as Tony. Like where it's
Alright.
like it's just like a slightly like he's not quite as big as what's his
Ansel?
Ansel Elgort. He's not like he just feels like a dollar store Ansel Elgort.
He's just a guy.
He's just a guy.
He's just a guy with like mild to okay screen presence,
Yeah.
and he's good looking, I guess.
Yeah, I was about to say he's a cutie,
Yeah.
but like
I don't know. Rose Salazar kind of blows him off the screen, especially in his last scene where he's dying,
yeah.
where she's like crying through her CGI eyes.
Yeah.
And then he's like, I'll always. What? I don't even know what the fuck he
Well,
says.
yeah, it's like how are these CGI eyes looking like so much more convincing?
than the real human man.
Yeah. Which like I get it's technology versus just guy.
Yeah.
But like anyway, let's move on from Hugo.
Sorry, Hugo.
So I guess the story of it is that so Alita was like a member of what was it called? Which was the United Republic of Mars.
Yeah.
Which I guess went to war with Earth, and there was a battle on the moon.
Yes, ma'am.
And Alita was present for that. She has amnesia, so she like remembers this throughout the movie. She was present for that. She was like a great warrior. She finds like an abandoned ship where she gets a new body that's like unbreakable basically.
Yeah.
And then meanwhile Nova, who's in Zalem,
And he can go into other people's bodies who have
Yeah.
the Nova chip thing.
yeah, he can like see and communicate through people
Yeah.
and robots,
And he does this
machines.
through Mahershala Ali a couple times.
Yeah, and he hates it. Which I will say, when Mahershala Ali dies at the end and Zalem is like still talking through him, I'm like, that was some great acting, Mahershala. The whole time, like him switching from Vector to Nova speaking through Vector is just like very good. But when he's actively like he had to have his body die while his like mind
Consciousness
didn't.
was still, yeah.
And I just think he did a good job with that.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. That's Mahershala Ali.
I was gonna. I forget what song I was gonna sing, but I forgot the song.
What did you think of Jennifer Connelly's performance as, what was it, Karen?
We should probably learn the name.
Kyron.
Kyron.
It's almost like Karen.
I don't know. She's good, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
there's not too much for her to do, and then she gets her fucking skin and bones taken away, and
Yeah, she's like not great the whole time, kind of being passive aggressive and rude to Ito and Alita.
I don't think she's like costumed or styled particularly well
she's
either.
just wearing like a lab coat,
Yeah.
basically. But then she's like, yeah, I don't really want, because she's trying to get to Salem, but then in helping Alita realizes that like there's nothing really for her up there. What she really cares about is like
down on
being
in the Iron City.
Yeah. So she goes to Vector and is like, I'm out. And then he's like, well, then I guess I'm going to remove your eyes, heart, lungs, kidneys, brain, store 'em in this chest here, get rid of the rest.
Let's harvest her, baby.
Dude, it was so like, because I think they kept her teeth too.
Maybe.
But like, it was just so weird. Because to me, it wasn't that weird to be like, okay, so like in, what was his name? The Gruishka. Like, that guy's basically just like his face. And it's on this robot. I'm still able to be like, but that's him.
Yeah.
Consciously in this robot. But like, something about like Kyron or I keep forgetting all these names.
Just say Jennifer Connelly.
Kyron.
Yeah.
She like seeing just these eyes, because when he opens the case, the eyes like are looking around.
Yeah.
And like you can see that like the brain is working. So she's like fully conscious in there. And it's like, that's really unsettling to me. That it's just all these like dismembered body parts.
I'm gonna
but,
do
like,
that to you, I
she's
think.
still there. Dude, don't even joke about like that was like there's like a bunch of brutal deaths in here and like brutal injuries, but that's like the one that gets me.
I'm gonna do that to you.
Thanks, man.
You're welcome.
So I'm just going to significant points. There's a point where Alita,
Motorball.
Sure. I was going to go somewhere else.
Motorball.
So Motorball's a game where you're
cool
on
game.
little rollerblades, you got a little ball.
Yeah, and you can punch people while you play it.
And in some game modes, you can kill each other.
Murder.
So like
I feel like that'd be a cool video game.
that would be a very cool video game, I feel.
Yeah.
But like she enters because she wants to win money to be able to get Hugo
So she enters
to
like a
Salem.
low division.
Yeah, so she's in like the lower brackets to qualify for whatever, but Vector pays off all the other ones who are all like wanted men and like hunter killers, basically to kill her during it, and she kills all of them. So
good.
So that's pretty cool. And then at the end, she's like qualified for like the main league, and
Yeah.
she
And the only way to get to Salem
is by winning
winning
the champion
Motorball.
league. Yeah, which is an interesting political system. But what I was gonna say is when there's a moment, I think it's like just a bit before that, when she's still got the body where she's got like ivory arms with like it's like her Ito's daughter's old body, where she's like really confident. She becomes a hunter killer against Ito's will and goes to like this bar
that's
of
pretty
all
cool.
the hunter killers. I feel like that's like a fun scene, and you get to meet all these other hunter killers, including the dog guy.
Yeah.
Who's like a cool guy. But in fighting there, she beats up a bunch of people, breaks Zaphan's face, breaks his nose, which makes him grumpy. But she basically beats up the whole bar until Gruishka comes in with his upgraded tentacle arm that Hugo salvaged for Vector.
Nice.
Then they go into the ground, which Gruishka's like, now you're in my world. All the trash falls down here. It's like, okay.
Like that's where he was born.
Yeah. And then they fight for a bit. Like, Alita's doing well, kind of killing him. But then she gets chopped up. She gets her old body chopped up. So she's just head, shoulders, and one arm. But then she like... That's when she says the "fuck your mercy" line, and then puts her one arm through his eyeball, and and then the dog guy comes down with his dogs.
And they get on him.
He's the only one that's not like a like a known ally. It's literally Hugo.
Well, because Grishka killed a dog earlier.
There's a little puppy that Alita likes, and it like tries to defend Alita against Gruishka, I guess. Then Gruishka's like, "Oh, the only one not a coward. What a shame!" And like sends one of his big metal spikes through the dog. We don't see the puppy die, but we hear the
We hear it, yeah.
and then
Adam started kind of crying.
and then Alita leans down, sees the pool of blood of the dog's
Adam
blood.
really likes this part.
Yeah, and she puts her fingers in it and puts the blood under her eyes like war paint.
Yeah. And then she
like-
goes at him.
And then she goes at him,
She gets in his ass.
and then that's when she gets the body upgrade to the big super body that like Christoph Waltz's character is like, wow, the body is like adjusting itself to how she sees herself in her mind.
Yeah.
And it like adjusts the body so it's like smoother and like more compact. It also Calder noticed, gave her.
I didn't notice this. It showed. It gave her breasts.
It enlarged her breasts, which was interesting.
And then the nurse says, she's a little older than you thought.
Yeah, which like I know that's probably not what she's referring to, but it's a little weird. But what's weird about it is like it wouldn't be weird that she's just like standing there, boobs and butt out, but she has a belly button. So
Okay.
that implies that like that's all her skin. So then that's
I
like
guess.
so she's just
I feel like
they're-
you're just kind of a prude.
well, it's just like give her a shirt,
Zapan
guys.
doesn't wear any clothes.
Yeah, but he's like kind of a bit of a sex pest. And a bit
Neither
of a
does
freak.
Isaac Gonzalez.
Yeah, well, some people are into some freaky stuff.
Specifically a guy who runs a porno subreddit.
Yeah.
Not naming any names.
So
You just want to let that hang there?
yeah. Oh yeah. How did you feel about? First of all, how did you feel about the character of Tangi? Was the one friend of Hugo? And
Yeah.
there was the other one. I forget her name. But
Koyomi.
yeah.
They're fine. There's the one scene where she's like, Koyomi's like, why don't you like her? And Tangi's like, I've never been into hard bodies. And she's like, well, she hasn't done anything to you.
Yeah, and he's like, also, she used to be She was the enemy.
And-
And then she's like, yeah, 300 years ago, my guy.
And it's the girl from P.S. I Love You.
Yeah,
Big year for her, I assume.
I guess so. But, I mean, her role is very tiny in this movie. But what'd you think of Tangi getting Darth Mauled, getting cut in half, sliced in half?
It's fine. I didn't like him all that much.
Me
I
neither.
didn't really like any of the humans in this movie.
Me neither. Like, the nurse was fine. The,
Yeah, but she's
Ito's
also like
assistant.
partial cyborg.
I guess so.
She had the arm, right?
That's true.
The only like pure humans that I thought were like pretty good were Jennifer Connelly, even though she's also maybe not because she has that thing in her head, and
Yeah.
Christoph Waltz.
Yeah,
Yeah. Let me ask you some questions.
sure. Go for it.
Ooh.
We'll beep there.
What robot power would you want? I'd like something to make me a little faster.
Yeah.
Make me go a
certainly.
little faster. And maybe like I don't know, I don't mind the like sort of retractable.
Yeah, that's a cool weapon.
Like if you have that on one hand and then on the other hand maybe you have like just a regular hand.
Yeah.
I think that could be cool. And then you're a little faster, but I don't want to be smaller than Gruishka.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to be one of the big guys for sure.
I think the big guy I liked the most was the blue one in the final motorball thing.
With
where
the
he
big
has-
saws for
with
hands.
the big saws.
And then he gets pulled into a grinder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like his design. And I also like the one in the last motorball fight that's like on all fours or something. The guy right next to her.
Oh, yeah, yeah. The
I like
one that's
his
like,
design.
all right, kid.
Yeah.
No worries.
I liked his design. I like
Yeah.
being on all fours.
Yeah, I feel like I'd want to do something interesting like have wings or something. Or like
maybe jetpack on your back.
yeah, something that like increases my mobility.
Yeah. That makes
Um,
sense.
Yeah, I guess that.
Any weapons?
Weapons. I feel like I'm more like sword direction than I am like spindly, like cable fingers.
I'm a range. Hey, I'll admit right here, right now,
All
I'm a
right.
range boy.
You're a range
I like
boy.
to be at range. I like to be a little bit away. That's just who I am. That's just the kind of guy I am.
Yeah.
So
I would never be able to do this, but this is a fictional world, so I'm just gonna choose it. You know those weapons where it's like a small, like a tiny blade on the end of a chain.
Oh, yeah?
And they like spin them around, and it's
You
like
like
more of
that?
like a dance thing. I just feel like that would be really cool in a robot world, you know?
maybe like the ball and chain in Kill Bill.
Yeah. Basically,
Yeah.
kind of like that, except
that.
more lightweight. I think.
You'd want lighter weight.
Oh yeah.
Interesting. Did you have a favorite cyborg aside from Alita?
I mean, yeah. Aside from Alita,
Hugo at the end.
Hugo at the end. Yeah, he's just like a head on a body.
Yeah.
No,
Oh, I should say I also like Mahershala as he's a pure human, I assume.
I guess so.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think he's
I
good.
guess so. Okay, then my favorite cyborg is probably the dog guy.
Oh yeah.
I just like that he's.
What was it? I found his.
Oh yeah,
name.
because I didn't even mention this. After Gruishka kills the little puppy, Alita fights, and then like everything that goes down there, it goes down. Hugo and Ito come down, and then the dog guy comes down too, sends his dogs after Gruishka.
He has mechanical dogs.
He has mechanical dogs. I think some of them were like partially real dogs.
Probably.
Just with some like mods. But he, I forget what he said, but he basically says like,
That guy's not a dog lover or something.
yeah, he's like, not a dog lover. I hate that. And it's like, yeah, that's your thing.
That character's name is McTeague.
McTeague?
Yeah, played by Jeff Fahey.
Hmm.
Some other ones, Isaac Gonzalez was called Nisaya? Yeah, those are the only other ones that I'd
Nice.
be able to tell you.
Oh, we should mention Michelle Rodriguez is also in the movie. She's as like
Her
in the
like
flashbacks.
leader.
Yeah.
What does it say she is here? Her Alita cyborg mentor, Gelda.
Gelda.
Michelle Rodriguez. Also, Jai Courtney is the motorball champion, Jashugan.
Yeah, apparently both of them, Jai Courtney and Michelle Rodriguez, were supposed to, and I guess are supposed to have like
Bigger
increased
parts
roles
in the
sequel.
Well, because I assume she'll go up against Jai Courtney and have some more flashbacks.
Yeah, with Michelle.
And
Rodriguez.
also Ed Norton was Nova. We kind of mentioned it, but
Yeah.
they were all uncredited. I guess
Yeah.
to like give you a little
to make it
Wow.
more cameo like.
Wow.
But yeah, yeah, Ed Norton. I thought it was Dana Carvey the
Kinda
whole
looks
time.
like him with that freak hair.
Yeah, and he's got that hair and he's got like a weird smile.
And weird glasses.
But then he takes his glasses off and it's like, oh, that's Edward Norton, I guess. I wonder if they do a sequel if Edward Norton would do it.
He probably would.
I guess so.
They'll probably give him enough money too.
Probably.
But so you'd be excited for a sequel?
I would be excited for a sequel just because like the movie's really fun. I like it.
I want to see Zelma too.
Zelma?
Isn't that what it's called?
What
The
is
Place in
Zelma?
the Sky?
Oh, Salem.
Salem. I was like, it's like an S city.
I don't
in
think we've
America
gotten it
with
right on first try. A single.
It's an S city in America with a Z in front of it.
Yeah.
Salem.
Salem.
Selma.
Sure.
That'd be a bold if they named it Selma.
That would be very bold.
Could you love a cyborg?
Yeah, probably. Although I will say, something I'd probably say to the cyborg is, "You're the most human person I've ever met."
Yeah, he's such a fucking liar, Hugo. You want to punch him in the fucking head.
You're the most
That's
human
when
person I've ever met. Person
he says
with
that
nothing
when
human about you, baby.
She's giving him her heart.
No, he says that when they first kiss.
Oh, really?
Earlier.
Yeah, that makes me want to fucking die. One thing to think about with cyborgs and falling in love.
Yeah.
Hard boobs.
Yeah, that's true.
And we're not so sure about the anatomy, about the baby making stuff. So keep that in
I'm
mind.
sure they could figure that out.
We were watching Minute to Win It before this.
Yeah.
A lot of people on there.
Sure.
There was a couple of dudes who were doing really well. Didn't go for the gold. They each got $25,000. Pathetic.
How does this relate to cyborgs?
Well, I'll tell you. There was also a pair of people who were doing like, it reminded me of the couple that was doing it for the fertility clinic.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, when I said don't know about the baby making, I was like, we'd have to go to a fertility clinic if you were in love with a cyborg.
Well, I was gonna
say, but then
say
you also wouldn't, because that wouldn't make a baby.
Dude,
you can't make a baby with a cyborg.
I feel like Alita Battle Angel is just like the precursor to the movie Robots, where like if they want a kid, they just gotta build them.
Yeah, they just gotta get them shipped in.
Yeah,
put the boy's face on it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of all the questions I have.
Okay.
What do you think about Adam Driver in this movie?
Adam Driver for this, I feel like I'd probably put him in like, I don't know, the Ed Norton role.
Oh, really?
Just because, like, I feel like I'd be more excited about seeing Adam Driver in that role than I am Ed Norton.
Yeah.
Or I'd put him in, like...
I'd put him in the Christoph Waltz role.
Yeah?
I think he could play a, like, crazy scientist action hero pretty well. Because
Yeah.
that role's pretty cool. That he's, like,
Yeah.
a badass, but also, like, a science boy.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like, oh, I'm just an old science man. And then he's got this giant rocket hammer.
And I'd probably believe it a little more, because it looked at no point that Christoph Waltz had a real handle on that hammer, or that he should have a real handle on that hammer.
Yeah.
Because it's got a rocket coming out of the back. It's got a jet engine in the back of it.
Yeah.
Or I'd put him in, like, Zapan.
Yeah. I mean, a part of me is like, I want to put him in as Hugo just because I feel like he'd do a better job.
Good.
But it's also like, I know like we don't really consider age. It's just like assuming we cast him in the age that's appropriate. But like, I also just like don't think that character's interesting enough. Like, I don't think Adam Driver would even bring enough to make that character interesting. I think it's just not. I feel like that's a
role.
Character.
I said this while we were watching it. That's a role for Noah Centineo.
Sure.
Where it's like just interesting enough, but like he's a good enough actor where he can like play stupid things off well.
Maybe.
Like,
sure.
Not like Noah Centineo, some sort of incredible movie star or something, but like, I don't know. It's something.
Yeah. I guess I'd go Ed Norton.
Okay. Nova.
But like, I also think in the Christoph Waltz role would be cool too.
What about in the McTeague role?
Sure. I guess.
You want me to keep throwing out options, or should we rank it?
Sure, Alita, maybe.
Oh, that's a good one. Where are you ranking this?
That's a good question, my friend. That's a good question.
Let me try and pull this up here. Let me see if I can pull this up here. I'm going to try and pull this up.
I actually don't really have almost any idea of where I would rank this. Because, like, I do really like it. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It looks great. And I want a sequel. But I also think, like, I also kind of get why not a lot of people saw it.
Yeah.
At least in the West. Because it's got a lot of clunky writing, mostly.
I think in, like, that tier that we've kind of been filling up this month between, like...
the middle pack.
Yeah. Like, from 11 to 20, somewhere in there.
Yeah, I agree it's somewhere in there.
Maybe closer to Police Story.
Yeah.
Maybe closer to Kimmy.
I was going to say I wouldn't feel great about putting it above John Wick.
I wouldn't either.
Or honestly might put it like
just above Isle of Dogs.
I was going to say just below Isle of Dogs.
Oh, interesting. I think that's okay. I'd agree with that. I think it's a really fun movie.
Yeah.
With some really good parts. It's a little clunky.
Yeah.
And there's some characters that kind of suck.
Yeah.
But it's like pretty good.
This
it's
is something
enjoyable.
where like if someone was like, I want to watch like an epic movie that I haven't seen before, I'd be like, we could watch this, and they'd. I feel confident that most people would walk away from it being like, yeah, that was.
You
cool.
could get like a gang of 6 people together and watch this and have a good time.
Yeah, like it's a fun movie. Just like don't go in expecting like
Anything
some like
transcendent experience.
Yeah, it's like it's just a fun, goofy time. Okay, so you want to put it in at 17 under Isle of Dogs, above Kimmy?
That sounds good to me, brother.
Didn't want to talk while I was typing, or
I was really thinking about like when we're all cyborgs after AI is taken over.
All right.
What am I gonna replace my lower half with? More of a horse body kind of
Can
thing.
I be honest? I was shocked that for like cyborg power, you didn't say a big retractable, extendable dong.
Why would I say that? That's only something that your sick mind would come up with.
I don't know.
Is that Charlie Puth? Is Charlie Puth?
No,
in
I
that?
literally just like said, I don't. And I was like, that's a weird way to say it. Say the last fucking word. So I went, no. And it just
Wow. Do you have perfect pitch?
no. Actually, yeah. Say a note.
That's not what he says. Like, that's an E sharp.
Yeah, so you say a note and I'll do it.
Oh, F2 minus 1.
F2 minus 1?
That one's a hard one to hit. That's it.
Yeah. One
Wow.
more. Give me one more.
B.
B?
That's it. Wow. This kid's incredible.
Thank you. I've been practicing
And
my
logging off
notes.
now from the music corner.
Thank you, everybody, for listening to this episode. That wraps up my birthday month. We had 4 movies. 3 of them did just fine on our list, and one of them did quite well.
I don't think we've decided what we're doing next month. Are we going to do wedding movies?
We maybe.
Okay.
You'll find out next week what our what next week's theme
Or you'll
is.
find out when Adam cuts something in at the end here.
Yeah, maybe I'll put something in, maybe not. Adam, am I going to cut something in here?
Yeah, we're doing wedding movies.
Thanks, bud. Thank you for listening to this episode of the podcast. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you're having a good time, a good life. Remember to go outside, breathe some oxygen, have a little lunch.
Okay.
Remember to drink some water.
I thought we were in a bit of a rush.
We are in a bit of a rush. I don't know why I'm doing this. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Love you. Have a good time. Bye.